Joining us now to discuss is CoinDesk's U.S. regulatory reporter Cheyenne Ligon. Cheyenne, great to have you on the show. So you've been covering these developments on CoinDesk.com for us. And so let's start with Brett Harrison's departure at FTX. FTX was also in the news recently for winning the Voyager digital asset auction. So what do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, all we know so far is that FTX is making moves, figuratively and literally. So yes, they won the auction to buy Voyager's assets, which was kind of a surprise considering that, I guess, only 3 months ago they were rejected outright as having a lowball bid as an offer. But that's settled now, and then they're moving to Miami. So that's exciting.
They're moving to Miami. And any word on why Brett is stepping down?
We don't know. We've asked, we haven't gotten an answer, but he will not be transferring to Miami for this job. But it is surprising because only 4 months ago, FTXUS opened up its headquarters in Chicago, and we don't know why they're leaving. And even before he joined FTXUS, Brett has been based in Chicago. So, it seems like he's just going to stay there.
Is he going to stay within the crypto industry?
That's what his Twitter thread said. I haven't spoken to him directly, but I think he's also remaining on as an advisor for FTX.
All right. Moving on, the Block is reporting that Zach Dexter will be the new head of FTXUS, and that FTX is moving its U.S. headquarters to Miami, just like you said, only 4 short months after cutting the ribbon on its headquarters in Chicago. So very soon indeed. And we're looking at Celsius CEO Alex Mashinsky also resigning today. In a news release, his resignation letter reads in part, quote, "I regret that my continued role as CEO has become an increasing distraction." Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's been kind of a pretty common thread that I've seen in reporting on Celsius, that a lot of people are very angry that Alex Mashinsky stayed in the role and continued to draw such a large salary for doing so. And, I think maybe they just decided, okay, this is a distraction. And it seems like that's what he acknowledged in his letter. So he will be handing over the reins to the CFO of Celsius, which I'm not sure how much better that will be for a lot of people that are still waiting to get their money back. But that's the plan.
Sure. And, the other day, we also reported that Kraken CEO Jesse Powell would become chairman of the board of directors. So he's also stepping down from his role leading Kraken, which he's also co-founder of. Maybe you could tell us about the person who's replacing him.
Yeah, so all we know so far is that the COO of Kraken, Dave Ripley, will be taking over for Jesse. And I personally don't know much about him. I just know that he told reporters shortly after the announcement came out that Kraken will not be registering with the SEC. So it seems like already, before he's even taken over the job, he's kind of adopting Jesse Powell's defiant streak. So I expect that Kraken will kind of keep sailing on the way that it has been.
Yes. Throughout Jesse Powell's tenure, he has said a couple of controversial things that have irked his staff, including questions about, women's intelligence, whether or not it's equal to that of men's. That question, he said, wasn't settled or something down those lines. He also made reference to woke activists, that if they weren't happy at his company, that maybe they should leave. I wonder, is that kind of company culture something that will continue under Ripley's tenure?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. It's certainly something that we'll be keeping an eye out for. It's hard to know how much of that was Jesse Powell, who's a pretty avowed and self-described libertarian, and how much of that is Kraken company culture. But it's hard for me to imagine that he would hand over the reins to somebody that he felt like was going to run his company in a way that he wouldn't want it to be run. So I don't know. I can speculate that it would stay relatively the same, but who knows? We'll have to watch.
Finally, Cheyenne, just one last question. What's the wider narrative of crypto execs leaving during a turbulent market right now?
It's definitely, there's enough of them now to say that it's a trend. I mean, aside from the 3 that we've talked about today, there's been a few more high-profile resignations over the last couple months. In August alone, we saw 3 resignations. Genesis CEO Michael Morrow stepped down, MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor stepped down, and also the co-CEO of Alameda Research, which is under the Sam Bankman-Fried umbrella also stepped down and left the position to his co-CEO, Caroline. So yeah, there's been a lot of change, a lot of turmoil. Maybe it's just a bear market thing, but everybody's citing different reasons, but it's definitely a trend.